Hey guys, welcome back to Ed's Garage. Pretty excited to show you this car today. This is the 2026 Santa Fe Calligraphy, and it is the hybrid trim. That's right. Finally in Canada, we have a hybrid in the top trim level. So really excited to go over this. And look at this color. What a great color for a vehicle. I don't know what this is called. So if you know it, by all means, leave a comment below. Let me know what this color is. It's not a matte finish though. That was one of my surprises when I walked up to it. It's a really, really cool looking color. Now, a lot of people don't like these pastel grays, but I think on this car, it looks quite sharp, especially with the contrasting black all around it. Anyway, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna go over everything on the car, starting from the front, going to the back, going inside, and taking it for a real short drive. If you haven't already seen my video on the Santa Fe Calligraphy, by all means, check that out. I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, that was a 2024 model. Basically, all of the features are gonna be the same. A couple little changes, but for the most part, if you're looking at a 26, that video is definitely relevant. If you're looking at a 26 hybrid though, that's where this video is going to help out a little bit more. All right, let's get started on the front of the vehicle. All right, we're going to start under the hood here. Now, by the way, guys, if you see the lights flickering, don't worry about it. That doesn't actually happen in real life. That's just a camera refresh thing. All right, come on over and have a look under the hood. We have a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, of course mated to an electric motor. Now the combined horsepower on this is about 231 horsepower, 274 foot-pounds of torque, or 71, somewhere around there, 271, 274. Smart Stream engine, of course, so this does have the continuously variable valve duration. Less power than the non-hybrid. Of course, the non-hybrid Calligraphy has that 2.5 liter turbo. So if you are looking to, for instance, tow, or you just want more power, more fun to drive, the non-hybrid's probably gonna be the better bet. But the fuel economy on this thing is vastly better than the non-hybrid. Also under here, you'll notice really nicely covered up. You know, you got plastic all around the sides there, sound deadening material on the hood, sound deadening material on the firewall. It's a very quiet vehicle to drive. So we're gonna show you that as well later on. We're gonna go for a drive. On the right-hand side here, you can see we've got coolant. Now this coolant is specifically for the electric motor. There's a separate coolant for the engine right here. So they've actually separated that, which is kind of nice. That keeps the motor nice and cool. Fuse box right here, and the 12-volt battery is actually in the back. I'll show you where that is a little bit later. Right, so on the front of the Santa Fe Calligraphy, you got these beautiful H sort of design LED running lights. Pretty cool. This, of course, all lights up as well. I'm not sure if you can see that in the camera right at the moment. LED high beams, LED headlights, and they are auto high beams and auto headlights as well. We've got the active shutter system here, so these will actually open up anytime the vehicle needs a little extra cooling. So whenever the AC is running, as an example, those will open up. When they're closed, it gives it a nice, smooth front end, very, very low drag coefficient for the size of the vehicle. Down right here, you can see we've got some parking sensors. There are front and rear parking sensors. And then you've even got these little air curtain pass-throughs that allow a curtain of air to form over the wheels to reduce aerodynamic drag as well. All right, coming around the side, you can see we've got the nice sort of the piano black over the wheel wells. Not so sure I like the piano black, but at least it's not that boring matte black plasticky stuff. On the Calligraphy, it's nice shiny black. That, of course, is going around these beautiful aluminum alloy wheels. These are a 20-inch rim, and the tires on these are, let me see there, the Krugen tires, 255, 45, of course, 20-inch. They're a mud and snow rated tire, not a winter tire, obviously. Not a summer tire, it's the all season, of course. Little Santa Fe badge. Got the power folding mirrors, which is nice. Does, of course, have the little camera bump on the bottom here. Marker lights on the side, so if you do have a car in your blind spot and you put your signal on, they're gonna know what your intentions are. And then if you come around over here, you'll be able to see, we've got the blind spot monitor in the mirror here. And then on the door handle, these are backlit door handles. They've got a little LED inside there. And it's got the digital key with push button entry, of course. Now there is no physical button here. It's a touch sensitive button. And that's kind of cool. As you approach the vehicle, it'll actually unlock itself. But if you want to lock it from the outside, you press that button and the car will, of course, lock. All right, coming further back. Actually, before we go all the way to the back, notice that the roof rails are separated from the roof line, so if you don't have cross rails but you want to make use of these, you still can. You can tie onto these, and they're really, really strong. You can put a lot of stuff up there if you need to. We also have the little grab handles here. Now it is currently locked, so let me show you what happens when I unlock that. So what this is if you need to get up onto the roof here, if you're a little bit short and you want to get stuff up onto the roof, this is now a little grab handle. So you can put your foot on the tire and then get stuff up onto the roof. Pretty cool. Close that off and you can lock it so that people don't throw garbage in there. There is actually a little drain in there as well, so if it does start to get water in there, water will drain out. So pretty nifty little thing. Got the fuel cap on the correct side of the vehicle. Come around to the back here. First thing I'm going to show you is the smart tailgate. So with the key in my pocket, not in my hands, I'm standing patiently behind the vehicle for 4 seconds and voila, the tailgate opens up. Now the Santa Fe has probably one of the best tailgates in the industry. What I mean by that is liftgate, whatever. This is nice and high, so even if you're 6'2", 6'3", you're going to be able to stand under this comfortably. You're not going to be banging your head. It's a very, very wide opening. The design of the Santa Fe started at the back. They actually thought of utility before anything else. This is huge. It's probably got the widest opening of any vehicle in its class at the moment, and there's a ton of space back here as well. On the tailgate itself, you'll see we actually have we have the close button, but we also have a lock button here. So when you press that, not only does the tailgate come down, but the doors lock automatically as well. So cargo space is pretty good back here. However, when you have the seats up, unfortunately that does minimize quite a bit. If you're going to need more cargo space, or if you're going to be carrying more than 5 passengers at any given time, maybe look at the Palisade, because this does quite limit the amount of cargo volume you now have. However, a couple nice things about these back seats: when they're in their upright position and somebody's sitting back there, you can actually recline them. So this handle can be reached by the passenger and you can actually recline the seat. I'll show you that in a moment when I get into the vehicle. But yeah, that's how you raise and lower the third row. If you want to raise and lower the second row, you'll see we've got buttons here on the side. We can simply press this and there goes the second row. It's power down and power up. So I can actually stop that again and bring it back up. Pretty cool. Also back here, we've got a 115 volt power outlet, a USB-C port to charge a phone, and there's actually even controls over the climate system back here for the third row passenger. 2 cup holders on either side, and then of course a spot for the privacy cover if you so desire. Underneath the floor, this is where your 12 volt battery is. That's what I was mentioning earlier. There's also no spare tire on this vehicle. However, there is room underneath if you wanted to add a spare tire kit. This one comes with a tire mobility kit. So electric pump, a sealant, and then basically the sealant goes into the tire and seals up any holes. Also back here on the left-hand side, you'll notice we've got the subwoofer back here because it does have the higher end Bose audio system. And that's underneath the 12 volt power outlet, which is great if you have like a powered cooler or something like that. On the back bumper, you'll notice we do have the proximity sensors because, as I mentioned, it does have Smart Park system. So that's what I'm going to show you next. All right, so Smart Park is a great feature if you come back to your vehicle in a parking lot and some yahoo is parked right next to you and you can't get in the door. So what we're going to do is we're going to remote start using the little funny egg-shaped key fob. And remember, with a hybrid, the engine doesn't necessarily come on when you remote start. So it is now running, even though the engine is not running. And I'm going to hold a button on the steering wheel. I'm going to hold a button on the key fob, and there it goes. The car is driving itself. Now, it will stop if it detects something in the way. I can also hit the backup button on the key fob to move the vehicle backwards. And of course, those parking sensors, once again, will stop the vehicle if something's in the way. How cool is that? Smart Park. All right, let's jump into the third row. We'll then go to the second row and then finally the front row. All right, so we're gonna jump into the third row first. Now, I've set the front seat up where I would drive it. I've set the second row up where I could sit behind myself comfortably, and I'm going to sit in the third row behind where that seat would be for me comfortably as well. And the reason I'm gonna do that is just so you can see that 3 people who are 6'2" could potentially sit behind each other. All right, but we'll start in the third row. All right, so there's a button on the top of the seat here and there's a button down here, both of which can be used to move the seat forward. However, this is the one that will move the seat back. It'll move that forward as well. The bottom one will only move the seat. So if you have a child seat in here, for instance, and you don't want the seat back collapsing in, you can press this bottom one to move the seat forward, but it does make it a little harder to get in the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and press the top one, which moves the seat forward and moves the seat back using power. and that'll give me enough space to get in. All right, let's get in. So now you get to see the ease of access. This is another cool thing here. I can actually use this handle to make it easier to get into the back as well. Now, I'm not gonna bother, because otherwise I'll probably dislocate my shoulder. Oh, there we go. I'm sitting in the back. Now, what I've done here is I've set the passenger side seat up where I had the driver's side seat. So I can just shift over and show you that, yes, indeed, I fit back here. Now, my knees are up against the seat, but nobody sits like this. I mean, you're generally gonna have your knees spread a little bit. So it is tight. There's no question. If you're gonna have adults in the third row often, then you're gonna wanna get a Palisade, because this is gonna be too small. But in a pinch, I can move the seat back a little bit, and it's relatively comfortable. I've got lots of headroom, and also the thing to note with the seat base is that they actually move out of the way when you fold the seat down. So I'm gonna fold this one down just to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. Notice that the seat base is actually moving down and out of the way, so that this is now flat with the cargo area. When I fold this one out of the way, it also goes down flat. So that's another thing to note. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm gonna go ahead and fold this seat out of the way and bring up another cool point. If you've got like just two kids and they want to sit back in the third row, they may actually prefer that. And here's the reason. So I've gone ahead and I've moved this seat out of the way. As you can see, it's nice and flat, and this would be a really nice flat load floor, but now it's also a place to put your legs. And now this seat is definitely more comfortable than the second row. Pretty cool, right? But what about the second row? All right, so I've purposely left this seat in the exact same place so you can see what I was talking about. There is enough room for me as a 6'2" person to sit behind myself. There's plenty of room. But I'm gonna go ahead and move this back a little bit just so I can show some more stuff. There we go. Now I've got tons of room. Now there's a lot to talk about back here. First off, we have peasant blockers. Beautiful sunshades, and they cover the entire window, which is nice. We've got 2 cup holders, a bottle holder down in the door. We've got heated seats here, a nice cushioned armrest. All right, so that's kind of nice. In front of me, I've got this nice solid seat back, so if I am, 4 years old and my feet are kicking the back of the seat, the driver's not gonna have a problem with that. Fairly decent sized little cargo space here, but lots of cargo space in the middle because we've got a nice little drawer. Now this drawer is accessible from the center console, so if the passengers in the front want to get to the stuff in this drawer, they can. They would just open this up. But check this out. As a second row passenger, you can also open this up because it opens up in 2 ways. So we can open it that way, and we can open it that way. Pretty cool, right? We've also got a USB-C port here, and these seats, I forgot to mention, are actually, like I said, they're power, so I can raise and lower the front of the seat. As you can see, the seat is tilting up. And then, of course, I've got the power backrest, which is nice. And another nice thing is these armrests on the inside, they can actually ratchet. So if you do have the seat all the way back, you can put this nice and level, so that's the same height as the door. And then, of course, if you have the seat forward, we need to ratchet that up a little bit to keep it at the same level. We've also got a massive sunroof here as well, with a power sunshade that covers up the entire thing as well. And of course, the entire ceiling is suede in here, and there's there's LED lights everywhere and grab handles everywhere. So a really nice place to be for the second row passengers. All right, before I go to the front row, I actually forgot one more thing that's pretty cool. Let's say you're the second row passenger and you get in behind the inconsiderate front row passenger. Look at this. I can press buttons on the side of the seat to move the front seat out of the way. Isn't that awesome? That's like luxury car material right there. Okay, let's check out those front seats. All right, first we're gonna look at the passenger seat. Get my camera bag out of the way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-way adjustable power on the passenger seat. Let me go ahead and get in and show you what this is like. Now, this seat is incredibly comfortable, not in its current position though, because we actually have calf support. So this little guy right here will raise up this calf support. And now I can get this really, really comfortable. If I'm on a long drive, you know, I'm driving 1,000 kilometers or whatever, which I can almost do on one tank of fuel with this vehicle, this is going to be a really, really comfortable place to be. I've also got a nice little parcel shelf right here that is rubberized, so stuff's not going to fly around. An additional little rubberized parcel shelf that's covered up, which is kind of cool, and then a reasonably sized glove compartment here as well. On the door, if we have a look over here at the door, you'll notice we've got a nice cushioned armrest, of course. The door handle itself is quite long, so if it does get caught in the wind, it's going to be pretty easy to grab that and stop it from flinging open. Very reasonable sized door pocket down below here. Not the biggest in the world, but not tiny, and enough room for a bottle there as well. And you can see we've got the Bose audio system in here, as I mentioned earlier. All right, now let's jump into the driver's side, the most important place of the vehicle. And a little bit extra on this seat. So on the other side, we had a 10-way adjustable seat. This one is almost the same. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the cast support, but we also have 11, 12, 13, 14-way adjustment because it's got 4-way adjustable lumbar support. We also have relaxation seating. So that's this guy right here. So if I move this, there we go. It's doing everything on its own now. Whee! So now we're in that relaxation seating mode. So this is great if you're waiting for a train, waiting for a ferry, waiting for a friend, whatever, waiting for your girlfriend to finish doing her makeup. This is a great way to kind of relax in the vehicle, and it just takes the press of a button. What's really cool about it is if the rear seat is in the way, it'll move out of the way first. So that's kind of nice as well. All right, also on the driver's side, of course, we have all the controls for your windows. You got your child safety lock mechanism right here. All the windows, by the way, are auto up, auto down. We've got the mirror control, so if you want to fold the mirrors in, you can do that from here. And then, of course, left and right. By the way, if you don't like the mirrors tilting down when you put the vehicle into reverse, just put the little left-right switch in the middle. That'll stop the mirrors from tilting down when you go into reverse. You've also got the memory seats here. These are for your seats and seat and mirrors. However, they are independent controlled by driver profile. Right, now we are sitting in the 26 Calligraphy Hybrid. I'm going to go over some of the functionality here. Again, I'm not going to go over absolutely everything because, like I said, I did cover that already in my other calligraphy video. So if you want to know more about the interior and all of the features, by all means, check that video out in the description below. But I will show you what the buttons do, and then we'll go from there. And of course, we will take it for a quick drive after that. Okay, so starting here on the left-hand side, you can see we've got the ability to open up the lift gate from here. Got your traction stability control right there. Power e-brake right here. Now, if we want, we can turn off the e-brake manually, but it is also automatic. You'll also notice right above that, we got this beautiful sort of LED strip lighting, which is pretty awesome. So that's part of your ambient lighting system. 64 available colors of ambient lighting. And what's really cool about it is that not only does it come out right here, but also comes out below the screen as well as in the door pockets. So that's pretty nice. And again, 64 available colors, all tied to your driver profiles. And I was mentioning the driver profiles a moment ago. So we've got guest, we've got driver 1 and driver 2, and you can actually rename all of this stuff as well. You know, if you have two people, two owners of the vehicle, you can have each one of them have their own driver profile, which will put the seats in the seat in its correct position, mirrors in their correct positions, presets on the stereo, climate control settings, brightness levels, ambient lighting, color, dashboard configuration. All of that will be remembered within the driver profile. It's pretty awesome. Okay, having a look at the buttons on the steering wheel. So on the left-hand side here is our controls for drive as well as the instrument cluster. So we've got our adaptive cruise control on off. This will set your speed. Well, actually, this will turn it on and set your speed initially. This will set and resume or increase, decrease. It'll also adjust the distance between you and the car in front of you. That's this guy right here. This one here is for your lane centering, which I'll show you in the drive in a bit. These two right here, they control that little center screen. So that's pretty cool. On the back of the steering wheel, you can see we've got two paddles. Those paddles are for two different things. They're either going to increase, decrease your level of regeneration, which again, I'll show you on the test drive, or in sport mode, they can be used as paddle shifters. On the left stock, we've got your automatic headlights, high beams, etc. Pretty simple. You got your turn signals there, which are pretty cool. You can have one touch turn signal that'll flash either 3, 5, or 7 times. And of course, you'll notice the blind view monitor popping up in the screen there. On the right-hand side, we've got your windshield wiper washer stock. And of course, it is automatic wipers, as I mentioned. Actually, did I mention that? I don't know if I did. Yeah, automatic wipers. Automatic rear wiper as well. And the rear wiper, I forgot to show you, was actually hidden under the spoiler in the back, which is pretty cool. The automatic rear wiper works by coming on when you put the vehicle into reverse if your front wipers are on. Okay, this guy right here, all of these are for the instrument cluster. I'll tell you real quick what they are for the infotainment system. I'll tell you real quick what they are, but just keep in mind, I do go over that in my infotainment video, which I will link below as well. Mode switches where music's coming from. This is your voice recognition, next preset, previous preset, or next track, previous track. This is a customizable button, which you can use to hang up phone calls, go to HD radio data, map, media on, off, quiet mode, that sort of thing. This will answer phone calls. You can also make this hang up phone calls, which I like personally. You got your volume right here, as well as a mute button if you press it. And you'll notice in the middle of the steering wheel, you got 4 dots. That's the Morse code for the letter H. So they've gotten rid of the H badge and just replaced that with a Morse code 4 dots. Over on the center console, you can see we've got 2 wireless charging pads here, which is kind of nice. So if you got 2 cell phones, that'll charge wirelessly. This one here is actually your NFC connection. So if you want to use your cell phone as a key, this is where you would put your cell phone, and it will use digital key, so you can start the car and everything without the key fob, which is pretty cool. You'll notice we've got lights here for both of the wireless phone chargers. USB port, which can be used to either connect to the screen and charge, or just charge. You press this button and now this is just for charging. So this would be used for instance, for a USB stick for music or for Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. However, the infotainment system has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you don't necessarily have to plug your phone in. Now, this is kind of nice. We have the UVC button right here. What that does is it turns on the UV lights in here to disinfect a phone. So if you've got a kid's phone that's just caked in bacteria, you stick it in there, you press this little button, and it turns on some UV lights to disinfect a cell phone. Pretty cool, or whatever else you want to put in there. We have some buttons down at the bottom here for auto hold, so that'll hold the vehicle in place when you let go of the brake. You got your drive and terrain selectors. So we've got drive modes, which are Eco, Sport, and My Drive. My Drive, of course, being customizable. And then we have terrain modes. To get to the terrain modes, you press this button first, and then you move this up or down. And you can see we've got snow, mud, and sand, which of course are going to alter the all-wheel drive system to make it just that much more capable in those scenarios. Now, speaking of the all-wheel drive system real quick, the all-wheel drive system in all of the current Hyundais, it's all basically the same. It's a really, really good system. It's using a drive shaft from the front to the back. It's a full mechanical connection from the front to the back, which is nice. So no weird, drive motor or anything like that in the rear wheels. And the nice thing about that is you don't have to worry about a drive motor overheating if you're starting to get stuck in snow. That solid connection between the front and the back definitely makes a difference. Hyundai's got one of the best all-wheel drive systems in the business today. All right, above that we have the climate control system, and it is 3 levels of auto, which is nice. We've got heated and ventilated seats up here. We've got a dual level heated steering wheel, and it's the whole steering wheel all the way around, which is nice. So low and high. We have automatic recirculate. So if we use the windshield washer fluid, you see it now, it is recirculating the air so that I don't have to smell the windshield washer fluid. If we're driving through a tunnel, it'll also turn on recirculate so we don't have to smell the tunnel air. Lots of buttons here for the stereo, which is nice to see. So not everything is required touch buttons. You can actually press physical buttons on the dashboard. Now, both of the screens are 12 inches. They're both non-polarized, so if you like to wear polarized sunglasses, you can do so without any concerns about seeing the screens. And of course, they are very, very customizable. Again, please watch the video based specifically on the infotainment system. It's an infotainment system in-depth analysis. But check this out. You can actually customize where all of your icon cards are. So if there's things that you prefer to see over other things, you can kind of put those on the main screen if you want. The only thing I will show you here real quick is the hybrid screen. So this screen basically will show you what sort of fuel economy you've been getting on the hybrid drivetrain. Now keep in mind, we haven't been moving much, so that's why this is starting to climb up, but you'll probably see more like 7 liters per 100 kilometers or even 6.5 liters per 100 kilometers. You can also see exactly how long the electric motor is on for, which is kind of cool. And then right here, it shows you where energy is going from and to. So you can see the engine, electric motor, battery, wheels. You'll actually see little lines moving when you're driving or if the engine's running. Kind of cool. One other cool thing, anytime you go to the menu and hit online manual, it shows you a QR code that you can scan, and that will take you to the manual, digital manual, which talks directly about the thing that you were in when you brought that up. So that's kind of nice. Okay, so driving the 2026 Santa Fe Calligraphy Hybrid. It's pretty cool that we now actually have the option for the hybrid in the top trim in Canada, because prior to this, that wasn't an option. You had to get a lower model in order to get the hybrid. Now, this one does have a little bit less horsepower and torque, so that's one of the sort of main things that I want to see if it really affects the drive much at all. And I don't think it does, because quite frankly, you know, I've driven the old hybrid and it was fine. It's no rocket ship, but it has enough power. It's about 231 horsepower, 271 foot-pounds of torque, and really the torque comes into play under any sort of, you know, acceleration, stop and go, that sort of thing. But more importantly, what sort of fuel economy are we going to get on this short drive? We're not going to do a full drive today. We just simply don't have the time. But we'll see what the fuel economy looks like on this short drive. So I'm going to go ahead and reset the economy here. So we'll be able to see here on the screen, right in the middle. I've got it on the since refueling, but that's okay. It'll start to count up the economy here momentarily. And then on the center display, we can actually also open up the hybrid screen and see how much electric motor use and what sort of hybrid fuel economy as well. So we'll leave it on this. This is kind of nice as well because it shows you exactly where power is coming from and going to. Now, if you've already seen my video on the Santa Fe Calligraphy, the non-hybrid, all of the features are basically the same. They didn't remove any features necessarily. Now, since that video, one thing they did actually take off, now that I think about it, was the fingerprint scanner over on the left. That's gone. But otherwise, the car is exactly the same. So if you want to see a bit more about the Santa Fe Calligraphy, you know, feel free to check that video. I'll put that in the links in the description below. All right, so far we've got an 8.3 liters per 100 kilometers. These are known for having extremely good fuel efficiency. So we should see this drop down to, I would say, probably mid 6s, low 7s, around there. So we'll see what it does. But while we're driving here, a couple other things to note. We do, of course, have the blind view monitor, as you can see there on the screen. So whenever the turn signal is on, it'll show you a view down that side of the vehicle. Pretty awesome. And of course, I can see in my windshield now a head-up display. You won't be able to see that from the camera angle, but in the head-up display right now, I can see the speed limit, the speedometer. I've got lane centering turned on right now as well. So right now you can see the wheel is, well, not right now, but in a moment the wheel will kind of take over and the car will basically steer itself. So we'll get to a point where we can do that again, and I'll show you how that works. We have, of course, adaptive cruise control as well. Now, the adaptive cruise control works at any speed. It's going to maintain a distance between you and the car in front of you. And one of the nice things about that lane centering that I was talking about, it doesn't require adaptive cruise control to be turned on. Here, as you can see, the car is now steering itself, and it's doing a pretty good job. Now, it won't do tight corners, obviously, so if you're about to go around a bit of a sharper corner, obviously you want to steer around that corner. Never take your hands off the wheel. I'm just doing it for demonstrative purposes. Another cool thing that just popped up here, you can see we have the little street sign on the top left corner here. It's not able to read the speed limit yet because we haven't passed a speed limit sign. But one thing you'll notice every now and then is you'll get an indicator of other signs as well. So we just passed a pedestrian sign, so the forward-facing camera actually picked that up and put the pedestrian sign on the instrument cluster as well as the head-up display. So that's pretty cool. The forward-facing camera, of course, can read street signs. Now, it's not going to show you every single street sign, but some of the more important ones like school zones, pedestrian zones, that sort of thing, park zones, will pop up on the instrument cluster as well as the head-up display. All right, so right now, we can see down here, this is blank, and in just a moment, it's going to pick up a school zone. So we have a school zone that doesn't require that we go 30, However, it is recommended to go 30. There we go. It is recommended to go 30 when there are children on the road. So that's why it's not showing a 30 zone here right now. So there you go, that's pretty cool. So basically, yeah, that forward-facing camera up here in the windshield was able to see the sign on the road and put the information up on the instrument cluster for us. You'll also notice that I have the digital rear view mirror turned on. So I don't even need to have this mirror pointed at me or in the right direction, because it's always going to be looking back where I need it to look back. And keep in mind, of course, I can adjust this. I can increase the brightness. I can also raise or lower the camera angle as well. So one of the things I really like about the Santa Fe Hybrid is that they still have the adjustment for regeneration level. I just did a video the other day on the Palisade Hybrid, and for whatever reason Hyundai got rid of the regen level adjustment. But as you can see right here in the screen, it says level 1. That means it's on the lowest regeneration level. When I let go of the accelerator, the car does start to slow down a bit. However, if I pull this paddle on the left side of the steering wheel, I can increase that regeneration level to level 2 or level 3. And now when I let off the accelerator, the car slows down quite a bit more, and that's pretty cool. So it's almost like it's not quite one pedal driving, because it won't come to a complete stop. However, it does start to slow down quite a bit, and I don't necessarily need to move my foot over to the brake pedal for a lot of the typical braking that you would do. So pretty awesome that they still have the level 1, 2, and 3, and then of course level 0, which is just coast, in the Santa Fe Hybrid. Love to see that. All right, so I've been driving for a little bit here, and we're at 5.7 liters per 100 kilometers. So even better than the 6 and change that I was expecting. That's awesome. Now keep in mind, that's all just driving around in the city. On the highway though, you'll use a little bit more. Now, contrary to a typical gasoline vehicle, where normally gasoline vehicles tend to do, like just straight up gasoline vehicles tend to do better on the highway and then worse in the city, a hybrid will tend to do a little bit better in the city. So what we would expect to see on the highway is about a half a liter per 100 kilometers worse than city driving. Now, I've been taking it pretty easy. I've had it in eco mode the entire time. Just keep that in mind. Your mileage, of course, may vary. Okay, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. I know that I didn't cover as much as I usually do, but again, I've kind of already done a review on this vehicle, just the non-hybrid version. So again, link in the description below if you want to know absolutely everything there is to know about the 26 Santa Fe Calligraphy. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for future videos, or if you have any questions about this vehicle or other Hyundais or other vehicles, by all means leave a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Till next time, take care.